I'm never gonna forget that Sunday afternoon. I'd made my famous apple pie, the one my boy David begged for when he was just a little thing. I drove 20 minutes to their fancy suburban house, excited to see my grandbabies, excited to share a meal with my family. But the minute I walked through that door, I knew something was off. The whole room went quiet. My daughter-in-law, Jessica, was standing in the kitchen with her arms crossed, looking at me like I was a problem she'd been meaning to deal with. And my David, my own flesh and blood, he was sitting at the dining table, staring at his plate like it was the most interesting thing in the world, wouldn't even look at me. Jessica didn't waste no time with small talk. She walked right up to me and said words that cut deeper than any knife. "You come here too often. You're ruining our family. Your own son can't even stand to have you around." I looked at David, waited for him to say something, anything. He stayed quiet as a mouse. That silence taught me more than any words ever could. Hey y'all, I'm Sarah, and this is Grandmaa Stories. Today's story is about a mother who learned that sometimes the people you love most can hurt you the worst, and about the quiet move she made that changed everything. Drop a comment and let me know what city you're watching from. I read every single one. And if this story hits home, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. My name's Margaret. I'm 72 years old. I live alone in the same little house where I raised my two kids, David and his baby sister, Rachel. David's 45 now, big shot architect with a beautiful wife and two kiddos. Rachel lives 3 states away with her own family. After my husband passed 10 years ago, I thought I'd be lonely something terrible. But David and Jessica were real good to me at first. They had me over for Sunday dinners every single week. I'd bring my famous apple pie, play with my grandbabies, help with homework, read bedtime stories. Felt like I mattered, felt like I was loved. Them Sunday dinners became the highlight of my whole week. I'd spend all Saturday baking, planning, looking forward to seeing their faces. My refrigerator was covered in drawings my grandkids made for me. My phone was packed with pictures they'd sent. I thought I was part of their family. Thought I belonged. Turns out, I was dead wrong. Looking back now, I can see all the signs I was too blind to notice. The invitations started coming less and less. "Oh, the kids are just so busy with soccer this month, Mom. Maybe next month." When I did come, Jessica seemed distracted, always on that phone of hers, never really talking to me. Just polite little comments, then back to scrolling. David's calls got shorter, too. "Busy at work, Mom. I'll call you soon." But soon never came. I told myself they was just busy. Young families got a lot going on, ain't about me. But deep down, I knew something had shifted. I just didn't want to admit it. Then came that Sunday. It was one of them beautiful fall days, leaves turning gold and red, air crisp and clean. I'd woken up early, excited as a kid on Christmas, 'cause David had actually called me himself the night before. "Mom, we'd love to have you for dinner tomorrow. The kids miss you." Them words played in my head all morning. The kids miss you. I spent hours in that kitchen making my special apple pie from scratch, just like my own grandma taught me. I dressed up nice, my soft blue cardigan, my good slacks, a little lipstick. Wanted to look like the kind of grandma they'd be proud of. When I pulled into their driveway, I noticed Jessica's car was there, but nobody else's. Usually on Sundays, they'd have neighbors over, folks from church. Today, it was just them. Thought it'd be a quiet family dinner, just us. Sounded perfect. I rang the doorbell, holding my pie, smiling big. David opened the door. He looked uncomfortable, wouldn't meet my eyes. "Hey, Mom, come on in." I stepped inside, and that's when I felt it. The tension, the quiet, the weight of something nobody was saying. Jessica stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. Her face was cold as ice. "Margaret, we need to talk." Not Mom, not even a smile, just my name, like I was some stranger off the street. I set my pie on the entry table and walked into the living room. David sat down on the couch, still staring at the floor like it held all the answers. Jessica stood over us both, like a judge about to hand down a sentence. Margaret, I'm gonna be real with you. You come here too much. Every Sunday for years. It's too much. I blinked, confused. But David invites me. I thought, David invites you because he feels guilty. But this is our family now, our space, our time. You hear so much the kids don't even get normal weekends no more. They need time with just us. My heart started pounding in my chest. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I just wanted to help, to be part of... Part of what? This ain't your family no more, Margaret. This is my family, mine and David's. You had your turn raising kids. Now it's our turn. I looked at David, my boy, my baby. David, I whispered, you feel this way too? Nothing, just silence. Say something, son, please. He stayed quiet as a mouse. That silence taught me more than any words ever could. I think you should leave now, Jessica said, and don't come back till you're invited. I stood up slow, my legs shaking like leaves in the wind, walked to the entry table and picked up my pie, the pie I'd spent hours making with love and hope. Take your pie, Jessica said, cold. We don't want it. I walked out that door, made it to my car before the tears came. I don't remember driving home, don't remember the roads, the traffic, the pretty fall leaves I'd admired just hours before. All I remember is Jessica's voice echoing in my head. Your own son can't even stand to have you around. And David's silence, that awful, crushing silence. When I got home, I sat in my kitchen for hours. The pie sat on the counter, untouched. I stared at the refrigerator covered in my grandbaby's drawings and wondered if they'd miss me, if they'd even notice I was gone. Thought about calling Rachel, my daughter, but she was 3 states away with her own busy life, didn't want to burden her. Thought about calling friends, but at my age, friends get busy too, or they pass on, or they move to Florida. Thought about all them Sunday dinners I treasured and wondered if they meant anything to them at all. Round midnight, my phone buzzed, a text from David. Sorry about today, Mom. Jessica's just stressed. Give her some space. That's all. No apology, no defense, no I love you. Just give her some space. I didn't even reply. That night, I didn't sleep a wink. I sat in my rocking chair by the window, watching the moon move across the sky. Thought about my life, all the sacrifices, all the love I'd poured into my babies. Thought about the nights I stayed up with David when he was sick, the school plays I never missed, the grandbabies I welcomed with open arms. And I thought about his silence, his cowardly, heartbreaking silence. By dawn, something had shifted inside me. The hurt was still there, going to be there forever probably, but underneath it, something else was growing, something cold and clear and determined. If they didn't want me in their lives, fine. I wasn't going to beg, wasn't going to cry, wasn't going to call and plead for their attention. I was just going to disappear. Not dramatic-like, not with anger, just quiet and peaceful and complete. They wanted space, they got space. But they had no idea what that space was going to cost them. Next morning, I made a list. Call a realtor about selling the house, talk to my lawyer about updating my will, look into retirement communities in Florida, somewhere warm, somewhere far. Stop calling David, stop texting, stop waiting, start living for myself. I looked at that list a long time, then I picked up the phone and called a realtor. Hello, this is Margaret Henderson. I'd like to sell my house. 2 months later, I was gone. Not dead, just gone. New city, new phone number, new life. No forwarding address, no tearful goodbyes, just silence. The same silence David had given me. They wanted space. They got space. But they had no idea what that space was going to cost them. 2 months later, I was in Florida. Warm sun, ocean breeze, a little apartment with a balcony overlooking the water. I'd sold the house, updated my will, and started a brand new life. I didn't call David, didn't text, didn't send birthday cards or Christmas presents. I just stopped existing in his world. For 6 months, there was silence, complete, total silence. And then one day, my phone rang. It was David. What he said next and what I did about it, that's a story you ain't gonna believe. I was sitting on my balcony, watching the sunset paint the ocean all shades of orange and pink. My little apartment in Florida had become my sanctuary. Small but cozy, with a view that cost more than it should have, but I didn't care. I'd earned it. My phone buzzed. Unknown number with a familiar area code. Back home. I stared at it a long moment. Part of me wanted to let it go to voicemail. Part of me was curious. 6 months or nothing, and now somebody was calling. I answered. Hello? Mom? David's voice, strained, desperate, nothing like the confident man I remembered. I didn't say a word. Mom, please, it's me, David. I've been trying to reach you for months. Your number changed, your house sold, nobody knew where you went. I still said nothing. Mom, I need to talk to you. Something's happened. I took a slow breath. What do you want, David? He paused, and I could hear him swallow hard. It's Jessica. She left me, took the kids and moved back to her mother's. Said she couldn't handle the stress, couldn't handle me, couldn't handle everything. I felt something stir inside me, not satisfaction, not pity, something complicated. I'm sorry to hear that, David. Mom, I'm a mess. I don't know what to do. The house is empty. The kids are gone. I've been drinking too much. Can't sleep. Can't think. Why you telling me this? 'Cause you're my mother. 'Cause I need you. 'Cause I messed up and I know it. Them words hung in the air between us. 'Cause I need you. David, you remember that Sunday, the last time I came to your house? Silence. I remember every word, David. Jessica said I was ruining your family. She said you couldn't stand to have me around. And you sat there like a bump on a log, didn't defend me, didn't say a word. I know, Mom. I know. I was wrong. I was a coward. I should have spoken up. Why didn't you? He let out a shaky breath. 'Cause I was scared of her. Scared of losing her, losing the kids, losing the life I'd built. I told myself if I just kept quiet, things would calm down. I told myself I'd make it up to you later. But later never came. No, later never came, and then you were gone. I watched the sun sink lower over the ocean. A pelican flew by, slow and graceful. David, I spent 45 years being a mother. I gave you everything I had. And in one moment, you showed me that all them years meant less to you than your fear of your wife. That ain't true, Mom. Then why didn't you speak? Why didn't you say one single word? He started crying, not little quiet tears, but real sobs, the kind that come from way down deep. 'Cause I'm weak, Mom, 'cause I'm a coward, 'cause I've spent my whole life trying to keep everybody happy, and I ended up losing the one person who actually loved me unconditional. I closed my eyes. The sound of my boy crying, it still got to me. After everything, it still got to me. David, what do you want from me? I don't know. Advice? Comfort? Just to hear your voice. I've been alone in that house for 3 months, and I keep walking past the kitchen, expecting you to see you there with your apple pie. I told you not to come no more, remember? I know, and I've regretted it every single day. He told me more about them 6 months after I left. At first, he said Jessica was happy. She'd say, finally some peace. No more Sunday dinners, no more interference, no more me. But then something strange happened. The kids started asking about me. Where's Grandma? Why don't she come no more? Did we do something wrong? Jessica changed the subject, but the questions kept coming. David started feeling guilty. He'd pick up his phone to call me, then put it down. He'd drive past my old house, but it was empty, a for sale sign in the yard. Then Jessica started acting different. Without me to focus on, their marriage problems became impossible to ignore. They fought about money, about the kids, about everything. 3 months ago, she packed her bags, took the kids, and left. She said I was spineless, said I never stood up to her about nothing, and she lost respect for me. Can you believe that? She spent years training me to be quiet, and then she left me for being quiet. I didn't say nothing. What was there to say? Mom, I've been sitting in this empty house, surrounded by memories, and all I can think about is that Sunday, your face when you walked out the door, your apple pie sitting on the counter. I told you to stop coming. I should have stopped you. I should have said something. Yes, David, you should have. Is it too late? Can we try again? I watched out the ocean, now dark except for the last traces of sunset. 6 months ago, I was a broken woman driving home in tears. Tonight, I was somebody else entirely. David, I need to think on this. I'll call you tomorrow. Mom, please. I'll call you tomorrow. I hung up and sat in the darkness, listening to the waves. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on my balcony, wrapped in a blanket, watching the stars reflect off the water. Thought about David as a little boy, scraped knees, first day of school, graduation. Thought about the man he'd become, successful architect, husband, father. Thought about the man who sat silent while his wife tore me apart. Could I forgive him? Should I? Thought about Jessica, too. She'd gotten what she wanted, me out of her life. But now her marriage was over, her kids were confused, and she was alone with her mama, probably blaming everybody but herself. Thought about my grandbabies, Lily and Max. Did they miss me? Did they wonder where Grandma went? Would I ever see them again? By morning, I still didn't have answers, but I knew one thing. I wasn't the same woman that left that house 6 months ago. I was stronger now, clearer, more at peace. Whatever I decided, it'd be on my terms. Next morning, I called David. He answered on the first ring. Mom? David, I've been thinking. Okay. I ain't coming back. Not right now. Maybe not ever. This is my life now. Florida, the ocean, peace. I earned it. He was quiet a moment. I understand. But I'm willing to talk, to have a relationship, on the phone, letters, whatever works. But David, it's gonna be different now. Different how? You don't get to take me for granted no more. You don't get to stay quiet while somebody hurts me. If you want me in your life, you gotta show up. Really show up. I will, Mom. I promise. Promises are easy, David. It's the showing up that's hard. I know, but I'm ready to try. I watched the seagulls circle over the water. We'll start slow. A phone call once a week. No expectations, no pressure. Let's see where it goes. Thank you, Mom. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Thank me after you prove it. Few days later, a letter arrived, handwritten from David. First letter he'd sent me since summer camp when he was 12. Dear Mom, I'm sitting in my empty house, writing this by hand because I want you to know I mean it. No quick texts, no emails, real words on real paper. I've started seeing a therapist. I'm trying to understand why I stayed quiet, why I was so scared, why I let Jessica push you away. It ain't an excuse, nothing is, but I want to be better. The kids asking about you all the time. Lily drew a picture of you and taped it to the fridge.
Max keeps asking when we're going to Grandma's house. I don't know what to tell him. I ain't asking you to come back. I ain't asking you to forgive me overnight. I'm just asking you to give me a chance to be the son you deserve. Love, David. I read that letter 3 times. Then I folded it careful and put it in my drawer with my other treasures. He was trying. That counted for something. I took out a piece of paper and wrote back, Dear David, I'm glad you're seeing somebody. We all need help sometimes. Tell Lily and Max that Grandma loves them and thinks about them every day. Tell them I'm watching the ocean and saving seashells for them. One step at a time. Love, Mom. David called every Sunday after that. Sometimes we talked for hours, sometimes just a few minutes, but he called every single Sunday. He told me about therapy, about the kids, about his new life alone. He told me he'd finally filed for a divorce. He told me he would. I stared at the calendar for a week. The school play was 3 weeks away. 3 weeks to decide if I was ready to go back. I walked on the beach every morning, thinking about it. The ocean's got a way of clearing your head. Each wave seemed to ask the same question. You ready? I called Rachel, my daughter. She'd been supportive through everything, calling every few days, checking in. Mom, you got to do what feels right for you, not for David, not for Lily, for you. But what if I ain't ready? Then you ain't ready, but you'll never know unless you try. I thought about Lily, 8 years old, pigtails and a gap-toothed smile. She used to sit on my lap while I read her stories. She'd draw pictures for me and tape them to my fridge. Did she still remember me? Did she still love me? I thought about Max, 6 years old, who loved helping me in the garden. He'd water my roses and ask a million questions about bees and butterflies. I thought about David, my boy, the one who'd stayed quiet. He was trying. He was in therapy. He called every Sunday. He wrote letters. Was that enough? On the 7th day, I booked a flight. The flight was strange. I'd been away for almost a year. Florida had become home. The ocean, the balcony, the peaceful mornings, that was my life now. But as the plane descended toward the airport, I felt something stir inside of me. Familiar landscapes, familiar roads, familiar memories. David was waiting at the gate. He looked different, thinner, older, his eyes tired but hopeful. When he saw me, he froze for a moment, like he wasn't sure I was real. Then he walked toward me slow. Mom. David. He didn't try to hug me, just stood there, hands at his sides, like he was scared of pushing too hard. Thank you for coming. Means the world to Lily. How is she? Nervous about the play, excited that you're here. She's been practicing her lines every night. We walked to the car in silence. It wasn't uncomfortable, just careful, like we was both learning how to be around each other again. As we drove, I noticed we wasn't going toward his old house. Where we going? He moved. Couldn't stay in that house no more. Too many memories. He'd bought a little apartment on the other side of town. Modest, simple, nothing like the fancy house he'd shared with Jessica. I'm starting over, he said quiet, trying to figure out who I am without all of that. When we walked into his apartment, 2 little figures came running. Grandma! Lily hit me first, wrapping her arms around my waist so I could barely breathe. Max was right behind her, clinging to my legs, burying his face in my coat. I knelt down and held them both, tears streaming down my face. They still remembered me. They still loved me. Grandma, Grandma, I'm the lead in the school play. I'm a butterfly. I got wings and everything. Grandma, I got a new dinosaur, Max added, holding up a plastic T-Rex. I laughed, really laughed, the kind that comes from way down deep. Show me everything. I want to see it all. For the next hour, they showed me their rooms, their toys, their drawings. Lily had a whole folder of pictures she'd drawn of me over the past year. Me on the beach, me with the ocean, me surrounded by roses. I drew you every day, she said quiet, so I wouldn't forget your face. I pulled her close. You never got to worry about forgetting me, sweetheart. I'm right here. David stood in the doorway watching us, tears in his eyes.
When our eyes met, he mouthed 2 words, "Thank you." That evening, David made dinner. Nothing fancy, spaghetti and meatballs, the first meal I taught him to cook when he was 16. We sat at his little dining table, the 4 of us, like a real family. Lily talked non-stop about the play, practicing her lines between bites. Max showed me his dinosaur collection, explaining which ones was herbivores and which was carnivores. David was quiet but present. He listened more than he talked, watching us with an expression I couldn't quite read. Gratitude, maybe, mixed with regret. After the kids went to bed, we sat on his little balcony, looking at the stars. "They missed you so much," he said. "Every day they asked about you. I didn't know what to tell them." "What'd you tell them?" "The truth, that Grandma needed some time, that she loved them very much, that she'd come back when she was ready." I nodded. That was the right thing to say. "Mom, I know I don't deserve to ask for nothing, but thank you for coming, for giving me another chance. David, I didn't come for you. I came for Lily and Max." He smiled sad. "I know, but still, thank you." We sat in silence a while, watching the stars. "I'm proud of you, David, for getting help, for starting over, for trying. It ain't easy. Nothing worth doing ever is." Next evening was the school play. The auditorium was packed with parents, grandparents, teachers. I sat in the 3rd row, right where Lily could see me. When she walked on stage in a butterfly costume, wings glittering under the lights, she looked right at me and smiled. Biggest, brightest smile I'd ever seen. She was magnificent, remembered every line, every move, floated across that stage like a real butterfly, and I cried through the whole thing. Afterwards, she ran to me, still in a costume. "Grandma, did you see me? Did you see my wings?" "I saw everything, sweetheart. You was perfect." "Better than perfect," Max added, hugging her. David stood behind him, watching, tears streaming down his face. That night, as I tucked Lily in the bed, she whispered, "Grandma, will you come to my next play too?" I kissed her forehead. I wouldn't miss it for the world. "Promise?" "Promise." The next morning, while David made breakfast, I sat on the balcony with my coffee, watching the sunrise. I'd been thinking all night about what to do next. I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope, thick, sealed, with David's name on it. After breakfast, I handed it to him. "What is this?" "Open it." He did. Inside were documents, not many, but important ones. "What is this?" "It's the deed to my house in Florida, the one I sold." He looked confused. "I don't understand." "I didn't just move to Florida, David. I bought a little house there. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. And I've been thinking." "What thinking?" "I ain't getting no older, and them 2 in there, they need a place to visit. Somewhere with a garden, somewhere with room to run, somewhere with a grandma who makes apple pie." David's eyes went wide. "Mom, you saying—" "I'm saying that if you won't, I'll keep the house in Florida, but I'm also going to buy a little place here. Nothing big, just a little cottage where I can be close, where the kids can come after school, where we can have Sunday dinners again." He stared at me speechless. "I ain't doing it for you, David. I'm doing it for them, and for me. I missed too much already. I don't want to miss no more." He hugged me then, really hugged me, the way he used to when he was a little boy. "Thank you, Mom. Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. Thank me after you help me find a place with good roses." The next few months was busy. I found a little cottage, nothing fancy, but perfect. A little garden out back, room for roses, a porch where I could sit and watch the world go by. Lily and Max came every Tuesday after school. We'd bake cookies, do homework, read stories. David came for Sunday dinners, and slow and careful, we rebuilt what was broken. But just when I thought things was finally peaceful, Jessica came back. She showed up at my door one afternoon alone with an expression I couldn't read. "Margaret, we need to talk." What she wanted and what it cost all of us, that's a story you ain't gonna believe. It was a Tuesday afternoon. Lily and Max was due any minute. Tuesdays was our special days. I had cookies cooling on the counter, lemonade in the fridge, and a new box of craft supplies ready for whatever project Lily had dreamed up. The knock came at 2:15, early for the kids, but I thought maybe they'd convince David to bring 'em sooner. I opened the door with a smile that froze right on my face. Jessica. The woman who'd told her she was ruining their family, the woman who'd made her son stay silent, the woman who'd taken her grandbabies away. She was back, and what she wanted would test Margaret in ways she never expected. She sat at my kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug of coffee she didn't drink. I sat across from her, arms crossed, waiting. "I don't know how to start," she said. "Try the beginning." She took a shaky breath. "I was wrong, Margaret, about everything." I didn't respond. "When I told you that you was ruining our family, that wasn't about you. It was about me. I was insecure. Felt like I couldn't compete with the bond you had with David, with the kids. Felt like I was always second best. So you pushed me out. I pushed you out 'cause I was scared. Scared the kids would love you more than me. Scared David would always choose you. Scared I'd never be enough. And now? Now I'm alone. I lost David. I lost the kids. They're with him most of the time now. I see 'em every other weekend, and they talk about you constant. Grandma this, grandma that. I sit in my tiny apartment and realize I pushed away the one person who could have been my ally." I stared at her. "Your ally? You could have been like a mother to me. You tried in the beginning, I remember. You offered to teach me your apple pie recipe. You invited me to lunch. You wanted to be close. And I pushed you away 'cause I felt threatened by you." I thought back to them early days. She was right. I tried. I really tried. "Jessica, why you here? What you want?" She looked down at her coffee. I don't know what I want. Forgiveness, maybe? A chance to start over? I've been seeing a therapist. I've been working on myself. I know I can't undo what I did, but I want you to know that I see it now. I see how wrong I was." I sat back in my chair, processing everything. "The kids talk about you all the time," she continued. "They love coming here, love their Tuesdays with you. And I'm glad. I'm genuinely glad they got you. I wish I hadn't destroyed everything to get here." Before I could respond, the doorbell rang. Lily and Max. I looked at Jessica. She looked terrified. "Please don't send me out the back," she whispered. "Let me see him, just for a minute." I didn't know the right choice was, but something in me, maybe the grandma who'd missed a year of their lives, decided to open the door. Lily burst in first, as always. "Grandma, I finished my report card and I got an A," and she stopped when she saw Jessica. Max came in behind her and froze. The silence was thick as you could cut. "Mom?" Lily's voice was small, confused. Jessica stood up slow. "Hi, baby. What you doing here?" "I came to talk to Grandma, to say I'm sorry for everything." Lily looked at me, then back at Jessica. Max moved closer to his sister, hiding behind her. "I don't understand," Lily said. Jessica knelt down, tears streaming down her face. "I made a lot of mistakes, sweetheart. I hurt Grandma. I hurt Daddy. I hurt you and Max. And I'm so, so sorry." Max peeked out from behind Lily. "You coming back?" Jessica's face crumpled. "No, baby, I ain't coming back. Daddy and me, that's over. But I still love you. I'll always love you. And I want to be better. For you." Lily stood real still, processing. Then she looked at me. "Grandma, is it okay if Mom stays for cookies?" I looked at Jessica, broken, humbled, vulnerable. I looked at Lily, this beautiful, wise child who'd seen too much for her age. "The cookies is for all y'all," I said quiet. "Sit down. I'll get more plates." The next hour was strange and beautiful and painful all at once. Jessica sat at my kitchen table, eating cookies, listening to Lily talk about her book report and Max explain his latest dinosaur obsession. She didn't try to be the center of attention. She just was there, present, watching her babies with an expression I'd never seen on her face before, genuine wonder. At one point, Max climbed into her lap without thinking, the way kids do when they feel safe. Jessica's arms wrapped around him, and she closed her eyes, like she was memorizing the moment. Lily, ever the observant one, watched her mama carefully. After a while, she said, "Mom, you sad?" Jessica opened her eyes. "A little, baby, but happy. Happy to see you. Happy to be here." "Grandma makes everything better," Lily said, matter-of-factly. "That's what grandmas do." Jessica looked at me over Max's head. Her eyes said what her mouth couldn't. "Thank you." I nodded slight. I wasn't ready to forgive her, wasn't sure I ever would be. But for this moment, for these children, we could be civil. When it was time for Jessica to leave, Lily asked if she could walk her to the car. They went out together, hand in hand, Max trailing behind. I watched from the porch as Jessica knelt down and hugged them both, whispering something I couldn't hear. When she stood up, she looked back at me. For a long moment, we just looked at each other. Two women who'd been enemies, now connected by these children. She walked back to the porch. "Thank you, Margaret, for letting me stay, for not throwing me out. I did it for them, Jessica, not for you. I know, but still, thank you." She turned to leave, then stopped. "I know I don't deserve nothing from you, but if someday you could teach me that apple pie recipe, I'd like to learn. For the kids." I didn't answer. She nodded, accepting my silence, and walked to her car. I watched her drive away, my emotions a tangled mess. Lily came up beside me and slipped a hand into mine. "Grandma, you okay?" I looked down at her, this beautiful, wise child who'd seen too much for her age. "I will be, sweetheart. I will be." I didn't forgive her right there. Couldn't. Wouldn't. But for Lily and Max, I left the door open just a crack. I told her to come over Saturday. Said I'd teach her the apple pie recipe, the one that's been in my family for 3 generations, the one my own grandma taught me when I was just a little thing. So there we were, Saturday at 2, flour on the counter, apples everywhere, her hands shaking as she tried to roll the dough. And then we heard it, a car pulling into the driveway. David's car. He wasn't supposed to be there. Today I'm going to tell you what happened when my son walked in and found his ex-wife standing in my kitchen. Saturday at 2 p.m. on the dot, Jessica showed up. She was standing at my door holding a bag of apples like a peace offering, looking nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. "Didn't know what to bring," she said. "Apples seemed right." I took the bag and stepped aside. "Come on in. Aprons are hanging in the kitchen." For the next hour we stood side by side at that old counter, flour dusting our hands, apples piled high between us. I showed her how to peel 'em just right, how to mix the cinnamon and sugar, how to roll that dough till it's thin but not too thin. She was quiet, watching my every move like I was performing magic. "My grandma taught me this recipe," I told her. "She learned it from her mama. Been passed down 4 generations." She looked at me with them big eyes. "And you're teaching it to me?" I glanced over at her. "You're the mother of my grandbabies, Jessica. If they're going to have apple pie memories, you ought to be part of making 'em." Her eyes welled up, but she didn't let the tears fall, just nodded and kept on working. That's when we heard it, a car engine, tires on gravel. I looked out the window and my heart just about stopped. David's car, pulling into my driveway. Jessica saw my face change. What is it?" "It's David." She went white as the flour on them apples.
I should go. I should get out of here before he... No, stay right where you are. Margaret, he can't see me here. Not like this. Not without... Jessica, stay. The front door opened. David's voice called out, Mom, brought the kids. Lily wanted to show you her... He stopped dead in the kitchen doorway. The three of us just stood there, frozen. Flour everywhere, apples everywhere, years of hurt filling up that little kitchen. David's eyes went from me to Jessica. His jaw tightened up like a fist. What's she doing here? I wiped my hands on my apron and stepped forward. David, Jessica came to learn the apple pie recipe for the kids. For the kids? His voice was sharp as broken glass. She don't get to just show up and play nice after everything she pulled. Jessica spoke up quiet-like. David, I know I got no business being here. I know I hurt you. I hurt your mama. I hurt our babies. But I'm trying to be better. That's all I can do. Try. Try? He let out this bitter laugh. You destroyed us, Jessica. You pushed my mother away. You made me choose. You took the kids. And now you're standing in her kitchen like nothing happened. Lily appeared behind David, her little eyes wide as saucers. Daddy, why's Mommy here? The room went so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Max pushed past his daddy and ran straight to Jessica, wrapping his little arms around her legs. Mommy, you're making pie with Grandma? Jessica knelt down and hugged him tight, tears streaming down her face. Yes, baby, Grandma's teaching me. Lily looked at David, then at me, then at her mama. She walked real slow into the kitchen and stood right beside Jessica. Mommy, are you and Grandma friends now? Jessica looked up at me, her eyes begging for something I didn't know if I could give. I looked at my son, the boy I'd raised, the man who'd stayed quiet when I needed him most. I looked at Jessica, the woman who'd broke my heart but who was standing in my kitchen right now, covered in flour, trying her damnedest. And I looked at Lily and Max, two little souls who deserved people who loved them, even if them people didn't always see eye to eye. I took a deep breath. Lily, your mama and me are learning to be friends. Gonna take some time, but we're trying. That's what counts. David stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Mom? David, sit down. We gotta talk. All of us. We all sat around my little kitchen table. David, Jessica, Lily, Max, me. The pie sat unbaked on the counter, waiting just like the rest of us. I started talking. David, when you stayed quiet that Sunday, it cut me deep. Not 'cause of what Jessica said, though that stung plenty, but 'cause you didn't speak up. You let her words hang there like they was the gospel truth. He looked down at his hands. I know, Mom. I've been carrying that guilt every day since. I ain't telling you this to make you feel worse. I'm saying it 'cause we gotta be honest if we're ever gonna move forward. Then I turned to Jessica. Jessica, you hurt me bad. You took a whole year of my grandbabies' lives. You said things I'll never forget. But I see you here. I see you trying. I see you in my kitchen learning a recipe that's been in my family for generations. That means something. She nodded, tears falling silent. Here's what I've learned in my 75 years. Hanging on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Don't work that way. The only one I was hurting by staying mad was myself. David looked up. So you forgive her? I'm working on it. Ain't a light switch you flip. It's a process. But I'm willing to if she is. Jessica reached across the table and touched my hand. I am, Margaret, I promise you. Lily, that wise little soul, said, So we're all gonna be a family again? I smiled at her. We're gonna be something, sweetheart. Something new, something better. Won't be the same as before, but maybe different can be good too. Max, who was quietly munching on a cookie, piped up, "Can we still have pie?" We all laughed. First real laugh we'd shared in years. "Yes, Max, we can still have pie." We baked that pie together, all of us. David rolled the dough, Jessica sprinkled the cinnamon, Lily arranged the apples in a fancy pattern, Max helped by eating the extra pieces. When that pie came out of the oven, golden brown and doubly, the whole kitchen smelled like my childhood, like my grandma's kitchen, like love. We sat out on the porch eating warm pie with vanilla ice cream, watching the sunset paint the sky. Lily leaned against me. "Grandma, this is the best day ever." I kissed the top of her head. "It's a pretty good day, sweetheart." Max was asleep in David's lap, a smear of ice cream on his cheek. David looked over at me over his boy's head, and for the first time in years I saw peace in his eyes. Jessica sat quiet, holding her plate, watching her babies. When she caught my eye, she mouthed 2 words, "Thank you." I just nodded. That was enough. That night, after everybody'd gone home, I sat on my porch alone. Stars were out, roses were sleeping. Peace settled over me like a warm blanket. I went inside and pulled out a piece of paper, wrote a letter, not to nobody in particular, just to myself. "Dear Margaret, you made it. You survived the worst. Lost a year of your grandbabies' lives, lost your son's voice when you needed him most, lost the family you thought you had. But you also found something. Found your own strength, found peace in Florida, found the courage to come back, found a way to leave that door cracked. Forgiveness ain't about forgetting. It's about choosing peace over pain. You chose peace. Now get some sleep. Tomorrow the roses'll still be blooming, and Lily and Max are coming for cookies. That's plenty. Love, Margaret." I folded that letter and put it in my drawer with the others, then turned out the light and slept better than I had in years. 1 year later, my garden's fuller than ever. Roses in every color. Red for love, pink for gratitude, yellow for friendship, white for new beginnings. Every Tuesday, Lily and Max come after school. We bake cookies, do homework, read stories. Sometimes Jessica comes too, sometimes David, sometimes all of us together. We don't pretend the past didn't happen, can't, wouldn't be right, but we've learned to make room for each other anyway. Last Sunday, we had a family dinner at my place. Everybody. David, Jessica, Lily, Max, and me. Jessica brought a pie, her own pie, made from...
And sometimes the quietest move you make is the most powerful one. Walking away gave me strength. Coming back gave me peace. If you're going through something hard right now, remember Margaret. Remember that people can change. Remember that you can change. Remember that it's never too late to bake a pie, to plant a rose, to call somebody you love. Keep going, keep growing, keep that door cracked open just enough. You never know who might walk through.